hello, and welcome to the conversation. I am your host, Andrea B. Flintroy. I just want to say thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you for being with me, and just thank you. You know, I love having you all be with us. I love having you just engage with us on this conversation on this platform. Now, one thing you all know is that even though we're here having a discussion, I also want you to come on and have a discussion also. So remember, type your comments, type your questions, engage with us because this is called the conversation and it's something for us all to interact in so we can all help each other. So again, for those who might not know, I created the conversation so that there could be a space or platform where we can have honest and transparent conversations. Because I believe personally that my experience was not for me, but my experience may have happened to me, but it wasn't for me. And it's for me to help other people through their experiences navigate their day to day and how it can help them in their process of what they're going through. So again, thank you all for being here with us tonight on the conversation. So let's get started. I'm here with my guest, Shon Mercy. Yeah. So Shon Mercy, can you please tell the conversation community just a little bit about yourself?
Yes. As Andrea stated, I am Shon Mercy. I am a Christian influencer. I am a podcast host. Check out the Minutes of Mercy podcast in your spare time. And I'm just so excited to be here. I'm so excited that Andrea invited me on again as a guest to have this very pertinent conversation. So yes, thank you for having me.
Sorry, had a malfunction. Yeah, I don't know what I was doing, but we had a malfunction. So that just lets you know that this is not scripted. Look, having technical difficulties over here. Anyway, but so just to do a quick hello in the room, let me see some hellos in the chat. So let me know that this is working because of the technical difficulties that we just was having, let us regroup ourselves. But hey, you know what? That just shows this is what life is. It just shows that life is not scripted. It is not planned. Our experiences are not scripted. They're not planned. These are just things that actually happen to us. So how do we bounce back? How do you come back from when things like this happen? Right, Shon? Like, did you just see that? Like, how do you bounce back?
Right.
Some people like to leave those things covered up, but no, we're not going to cover that up. That's what we're here for. That's what we talk about. We talk about the real things that happen. And so on the conversation, we like to be real, we like to be relevant, and we like to be relatable.
Absolutely.
So,
and there you go.
Right. And there you go. So, but let us just get started. Hello to everyone. Oh my God, I'm loving all this feedback that we're receiving. Thank y'all so much. Now I know that what I did, it didn't harm me too much. But anyway, today we're going to dive in and talk about dismantling society's beliefs that they have on us. We're going to talk about how do we dismantle those beliefs of society's ideas of who we are supposed to be, and how do we actually show up as our true, authentic self. I know I have struggled in areas with this of trying to show up, trying to be my true self, my authentic self, but it's hard sometimes because in certain environments, in certain places, and certain things that we do, people want you to be who they want you to be. Mm-hmm. And so how do we dismantle those ideas of what other people want us to be? So Shon, just give me a little bit about when I say dismantle, like what is your definition of dismantle?
Um, Thinking about the word dismantle, my definition is probably the definition that Webster has. Is just really tearing down and
Mm-hmm.
really stripping away of that stereotype or that version of what society says that you should be, and
Mm-hmm.
letting your true self shine forth, letting your true and authentic self come through. And that's what I believe we have to do in order to live an authentic life. We need to tear down those versions of ourselves that society says we have to be. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Let your true and authentic self shine through so that we can live that life of abundance, or the life that we were promised.
Yes, and you are so right. You're so true. And so just to give also just a little bit clarification on the topic and the title of tonight's conversation, it is a version of me. And so that topic came from I was inspired when I watched Oprah's and Prince Harry's their show or their documentary, more or less words, their documentary about how they see you, the me they don't see. And so in a version of me, I really want to talk about what version of you do people see? Like, who is the person that shows up in the room? Like Shon says all the time, she says, who is your representative?
Yeah.
Who did you allow to show up when you came in these different environments? And so I feel like, or I strongly believe that in order for us to even be the best version of ourselves, we really have to find out who is the version or who is the representative that we sent out that day.
Yeah.
So Shon, tell me, for you, like when we were talking about the version of me and the version of you, like what are some challenges that you've had with just being your authentic self?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think a lot of people face these same challenges,
Mm-hmm.
whether your authentic self is going to be accepted, because like we said earlier, there's a standard, or
Mm-hmm.
there's a version of you that society says that this is how you should be, or your parents, or somebody has said to you that you shouldn't be you.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the person that you should be, or this is what you should do, and this is what you should put on. And so
Mm-hmm.
it kind of poses the question: do I really accept myself, my authentic self? Do I really accept me? Because this is the person that they told me that I needed to be, to be accepted
Mm-hmm.
in society, but that's not always true.
Yeah.
I remember, and I believe I told you this the other day, something I saw that was so disturbing to me, that I saw on Instagram. I saw this video of about 30 or so women in this airport. They were being wheeled in this airport coming from the Dominican Republic to get after their BBL surgeries. And I was so disturbed by this, because they got this body that
Mm-hmm.
society said they should have. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They went to alter themselves, to fit the mold of that
Mm-hmm.
body, or that person that society told them that this is the acceptable body. So you should go and put your life on the line so
Mm-hmm.
that you can fit the mold, of what society said that you should be, or how you should look. And I was
Yeah.
so disturbed by that, because our bodies are beautiful. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Our
That's
bodies
true.
are beautiful, and we shouldn't go so far as to alter ourselves just to be accepted in society,
Mm-hmm.
because who you are is good enough. And
That's
I
true.
want us to understand that you are enough. Your authentic and complete self is enough.
Yeah.
And I really want us to really grasp that, when we're going out and when we're doing things that we don't necessarily want to do.
Mm-hmm.
We don't necessarily like to do the things, but we're doing it because this is acceptable.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Accept
now, I
So,
want you to go back and tell everybody what is the BBL surgery, because
oh,
everybody might not know what that surgery is.
okay, I'm not a doctor, but from what I know, that BBL, it stands for Brazilian butt lift. And so what
Mm-hmm.
they do is they take a portion of the fat that's in your midsection and they put
Mm-hmm.
it in your buttocks
Mm.
so that you can have this slim waist and big behind. And that's the body that everybody is getting. That's the body that
Yeah.
everybody wants. That's the body that society says is acceptable, right?
Yeah.
We see all of these people going after women with these bodies,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I, I'm not even going to go into that, but that's pretty much what a BBL is. And
Yeah.
that's
And
what ladies and women are doing now to alter themselves so that they can be accepted.
mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, okay, so let's go back to the version of me, and we're talking about, the me they don't see. Like, who are you? Who are your true self? That version of you that, I guess, trying to decide
Yeah.
who is it that you are. And I strongly believe that some of the struggle comes in because we lose sight of who we are. We
Yeah.
lose our identity
Yeah.
in all of the versions of who we are.
Yeah.
Um, because we have to be professional when we go to work. We
Yeah.
have to be a wife to our husband. We
Yeah.
have to be a mother to
Yeah.
our children. We
Yeah.
have to be a nurse. Like, we have to be so many people, and we have to put on so many different versions
Yeah.
of who we think, or who we try to, okay, let me change it. We try to show up for everyone else
Yeah.
of the need that
Yeah.
they need and the support that they need.
Yeah.
But in the mix of all that, we lose who we are.
Inside of
And
our
I feel like we really lose who we are because we put ourselves on the back seat
yeah. And
instead of making ourselves a priority.
that is so that is so true, because we see it so much. And I
Mm-hmm.
said earlier, I believe this is almost like an epidemic that we're going through, where we put ourselves on the back burner, especially if you are a wife, a mom, a friend, a professional. All of these things we are before we are even ourselves. But I
Mm-hmm.
want people to understand we are us first. So you cannot neglect yourself first and show up for all of these other roles, because you're not the best version of you. You cannot show up for somebody else if you're not showing up for yourself.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
cannot. You won't be the best version of you. Like, you cannot. I was telling my friend the other day, who's a wife and a mom and all of the things, and she
Mm-hmm.
does all of the things, and she gets burnt out because she lost sight of who she was. She
Mm.
got burnt out. And I tell her all the time, I tell my friends all the time, you cannot be good for your kids and your spouse and all of these people if you're not good for you first. And I need us to really, really, really understand that concept. We have to be good for us first before we're going to be good for anybody else. And so we need to go back to rediscovering. If your wife and you had you knew who you were before, but you just lost sight of who you were, you need to
Mm-hmm.
go back and rediscover who you are.
Mm-hmm.
If you're somebody that never really had an identity and just kind of did things because this person said you should or society said you should, you need to go and self-discover, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's about either rediscovering or self-discovering, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
those things are important if we're going to really show up in life and be the best version of our authentic selves.
Yeah. 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 That is so true. That's so true. And so I know that you were a wife. So can you tell me what were some challenges that you had in being a wife, that, and even some things that you didn't know coming in? Like, I know how we have this idea
Yeah.
of what a wife should be. We kind of have our own, like, facades and fantasies of the fairy tale of, you know, wifehood.
Yeah.
But what was it that you learned that in being a wife and also trying to stay true to who you were?
Oh man, that's a conversation for another day. But I'm just gonna go ahead and I'll say this. I learned so much when it comes to being a wife, but
Mm-hmm.
I really did not learn it until I wasn't a wife. If that makes sense, you
Ooh, that makes
know.
sense.
I didn't understand it until I was out of it, and then the Lord kind of hit me in the face with it. But I will say that I did lose me. You know,
Okay.
I wasn't doing the things that I normally would love to do. I was focused on trying to be a good wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to do all the things that wives are supposed to do. That
Mm-hmm.
they tell us this is what a wife is. This is what
Mm-hmm.
wives are supposed to do. And so I was so focused on trying to perfect this thing called marriage and being a wife, to where I neglected myself. You
Yeah.
know, I
Yeah.
neglected who I was, who I truly was, and the things that I liked doing. But you don't have to worry about that anymore, because I understand now. I understand how important it is not to neglect your true self and to really just show up for you, so that you can really and truly show up for other people.
Yeah. Yeah. So Karen says that it takes us a long time to realize this as women of color. A lot of unlearning, you know, has to take place.
Yeah.
And
That's
she's
good.
so right, because we see what we have seen. Well, we learn what we see by
Mm-hmm.
what we hear and
Yeah.
by what we do.
Yeah.
And so these are the things, this is how we learn these behaviors. And
Mm-hmm.
so by watching television, we see a certain image.
Yeah.
Within our homes growing up, you know, we might have seen a certain image, you know, grandma did it this way, great grandma did it that way, and she treated granddaddy this way, you know, or this happened, and we look at all of these women
Yeah.
and we're like, okay, well, this is the ideal woman that I want to be.
Yeah.
But we really don't know what they went through
Right. Right.
to even put on that image or let
Right.
that representative be the person that we
Yeah.
saw.
And I'll take it even further to say
Okay.
we really don't know if those women are authentic to who they are. That's just what we see. That's the image. Just like there's an image that we're portraying and an image that we're showing people that may not be our authentic image, that may be the same for them.
Yeah.
They may not be showing up as their true selves too. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Because society has pressures. There's so many pressures in society, and there's so many pressures that comes from family and all of the things and people that influence us. It's
Hmm.
pressure. It's pressure. And so it takes courage. It takes a lot of courage for us to really show up
Yeah.
as the real, not the representative, but it takes a lot of courage for us to show up and show up authentically.
So Angela says, she says, we lose ourselves before we even know who we are.
That's it.
That
That is
yeah.
it.
Okay, good night, everybody. We want to go home. Like we can just shut that down right there. But
That's
that
it.
is so true. Like we legitly we lose ourselves
Yes.
before we even know who we are. And remember, how can we show up and be the best version of ourselves when
Yes.
we don't even know who we are
Right.
at all?
Right. Yeah.
At all.
We,
Because
yeah.
what you about to say? Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say we become so consumed in all of these versions of us, to where we can't even filter through, because there's
Come
so
on
many
now.
versions of us, and we can't even filter through those versions to see who we are. And so whether we've lost ourselves or what, it becomes a point of deciding whether we're going to self-discover or rediscover. You know what I mean? Like, because
Mhm.
so many, like, how do we find it's almost like a needle in a haystack. You know what I mean? We
Mm-hmm.
find the needle, who is us, when there's so much, you know, so
Yeah.
many versions and so much, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Like it's a lot of unpacking that
Yeah,
we have to do. We have to, it's like we legitly have to sit there and remove layers of every of society's beliefs and ideas of who we're supposed to be, even within our family. Like
yeah,
we put on so many identities and versions for our families. Like
yeah,
we try to be the high achiever. We try to be a daughter. We try to be a sister. We're trying to be the mother. We're trying to be the wife. We're trying to be the teacher when we have to be the teacher. You know, it's so much that we try to be that, like I said, we get mixed up, we get boggled down trying to find who our identity is. Then we look up, it's like 10, 15 years from now, and we realize, wait a minute, where did I go?
yeah,
We how about this one? I got one for you. Like you said, we're married, then we get divorced. You've been in a marriage for
there you go.
15, 20, 30 years due to whatever might have happened,
Yeah,
not necessarily a divorce, but due to anything that might have happened. And then you're trying to figure out, wait a minute, what do I like?
yeah,
I don't even like that show. I only watch that show because my
yeah.
spouse was watching that show.
Mhm.
Or I don't even like the color red.
Yeah,
Red is in my house because he liked red, or the Saints are in my house, or the Dallas Cowboys in my. I don't even care,
right.
you know.
There
And
you
so
go.
now we're trying to find out who we are, what's our routine. And we just
Right. We do ourselves a disservice. We do
ooh,
ourselves a huge disservice when we put on all of these versions of us and we can't find ourselves. We do ourselves a huge disservice when we don't continue to do the things that we like to do or continue to be authentic when we leave the house. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
Because who are you when you come home? When there's nobody there? Are you, uh, can we see that person? You know what I mean? That person,
mm-hmm,
you know, when you come home at the end of the day and you have to strip away, you have to dismantle all of the versions of you that you were that day. Can we
mm-hmm,
that person
mm-hmm,
at home, you know, that the people don't see? And that's what's so
mm-hmm.
important. And that's where I believe that we can just really start to begin to live life, because it's challenging. It's a challenge to have to put on another person or
Yes.
conceal, you know, and cover up who we really are. You know, it's really challenging. So imagine going through life, you know, going through your entire life being
Mm-hmm.
somebody else. You're an
Yes.
imposter.
Yes.
You're an imposter. Not only are you an imposter to people, you're an imposter to yourself,
Yes.
you know,
That's
because
so
you don't
true.
really know who you are. Who are you? This is, you know, it's a stranger almost. Like, who are you? You know,
Yeah.
and I wish we just had enough confidence, you know, that we
Mm.
were confident in just us, so
Yeah.
we can show up in the world
Yeah.
just being us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine how much weight and how much burden less we would be if we just showed up as us.
Yeah.
That's it. Whether they like it or not, because regardless, they're gonna talk, they're gonna say what they're gonna say, whether you're authentic or whether you're, you know, artificial. You know what I mean? They're gonna say
Mm-hmm.
whatever they need to say, but it's just so important and so pertinent that we just show up as us.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. And you're so right. So, and I'm kind of glad that you said that. So, I want us to back it up a little bit. I want us to back it up a little bit. And so, let's talk about, where have you in your life seen, where are there areas in your life where you feel like you shrunk yourself to be what someone else wanted you to be?
that's a
Mm.
that's a really it's a really challenging question for me, okay? Because there has been times where I did shrink, um, even when it comes to like I would consider myself to be really smart, knowledgeable, I'll say,
Mm-hmm.
knowledgeable about things. And there's been rooms that I've been in where I literally, not even just rooms, even in relationships
Mm-hmm.
that I've been in where I didn't want to make somebody feel a certain way. So I shrunk. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to intimidate nobody. So I shrunk. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
Um, there's been so many so many times in my life where I just literally shrunk because I felt that myself, the core of me, was
Mm-hmm.
not enough or would not be accepted. And even to just be transparent, I still struggle with that in my life today. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Where I
Mm-hmm.
feel like just the authentic me just ain't enough for some people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not all people, but some people. Some people I can show up unconcealed. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But some people I just feel me, all of me is just
Uh-huh.
not enough. Or they may be intimidated by this version of me. So let me just pull back a little
Yeah.
bit for them. You know, there's been so many moments in my life where I've done that. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm still learning that all of me, every part of
Mm-hmm.
me, you know, every fiber of my being is enough for me.
Yes.
Even if it ain't enough for you, it's enough for me. So I'm going to begin showing up, you
Yeah.
know, not as the person that my mom wants me to be, my dad wants me to be, you know, not as the person that society says I should be. I'm not going to the Dominican Republic to get a BBL. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
doing that. You know, I'm going to continue to work out and get the body that I want for me, not for nobody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, I'm not going to go and do all the things so that I can be accepted by society when I'm not even accepting myself, you know? Like, accept yourself first. And you
Drop.
don't have to be pressured, or you won't have to wonder whether society accepts you or not, because
Uh-huh.
it doesn't matter because you accept yourself.
Yeah.
Self
Yeah.
acceptance is the best thing that we can do for us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Self acceptance. Accept yourself and all of you because
Mm-hmm.
it is enough.
Yeah.
God created you. You are creation. It is
Come on
enough.
now.
Enough. You
Yeah.
know, when you were created, God said you are enough.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's all we need. That's all anybody else needs to know. Whether you think I'm
Yeah.
enough or not, I know I'm enough. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
And you know, girl, wait, because now you got my fire burning up in me now. You got the fire burning is running. But like when you said that when God created you, when God created me, when God created the conversation community, when God created you, you were enough when He made you. Because when He finished making you, you know what He said? It is finished.
It's finished.
Like, so you are beautiful, you are awesome, you're amazing how you are because you are enough. Now we grow, we evolve, but you are enough and everything, anything that you do. But I just want to take it back a little step that you have to believe
Yeah.
that you're enough. Like you got to believe that thing so it can be activated that you are enough. Like we got to activate the belief that's within us that we believe that we are enough.
Right. That's
Like someone can tell me all day long or tell someone else all day long, you're smart, you're a go-getter, you're determined,
yeah.
you are goal-oriented, like you're talented.
But if
You
you
can say that all day long. But if I don't believe it about me,
yeah.
it has fallen on deaf ears and deaf ground and infertile ground
Yeah.
because I don't believe that about me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you have to believe these things about yourself so you can
Yeah.
activate it so
Yeah.
that then you can show up the way that you
Yeah.
want to show up and the way you need to show up to be your true authentic
Yeah.
self.
Yeah.
To
So,
be your true self, to be your authentic self, you have to know that
yeah,
I'm enough. I'm a go-getter. Like
yeah,
what I can't even think of her name right now, but what she say? I'm that girl.
yeah.
I'm that girl. You got to know that you that girl.
Yeah,
You got to know, okay, I'm ready because I'm beautiful.
yeah,
I'm amazing. Like I'm unapologetic. Me, like to show up, you gotta believe that.
yeah, yeah. So
And
that
so,
you don't, I'm sorry to cut you off. So
go ahead.
that you don't succumb to the pressures of people and the
Hmm.
pressures of society. You have to first believe and accept yourself so that it's not pressure
Hmm.
for you when somebody else says you're not enough. Or
Yeah,
somebody else says that you have to do this or you have to be this way, you have to look this way in order for us to accept you. No,
yeah.
no, it just it's just so pivotal that we
Hmm.
believe, in us first. It's so
Hmm.
pivotal, so that like me and you were talking the other day, and you said so that when somebody else tells you, "Oh, you're good, you're this, you're that," it's just confirmation
That's
because you
it.
already know.
That's
You
it.
already know. You just confirming to me what I already know.
Hmm.
and
Yep.
it and I believe we're in this age now where we got to be validated.
Hmm.
It has to validate us in order for us to believe in who we are. We need to be validated by somebody else. No,
Hmm.
you need to validate yourself. God has already validated us.
Hmm.
You need to validate yourself.
Yeah.
You need to know, you need to believe and validate who you are. So
Yeah.
that when somebody else does it, like I said, it's confirmation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're just
Hmm.
confirming what I already know. Thank you. And I'm humbled by
Yeah.
the fact that you see me in this light. I appreciate that. You know,
Hmm.
but I
Yeah.
already know this about me.
Hmm.
I already believe this about me, you know?
Hmm. Hmm. You're right. You're right. So so I want to back up a little bit because I know I asked you about your area in which you shrunk yourself.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk about my area in which I shrunk myself, but I want to take it back because it really started with me being, me feeling
Yeah.
rejected,
Mm,
feeling embarrassed,
mm,
and feeling shame for what I had done.
wow.
So many of you don't know, and for who don't know, I was a teen. I was because I'm not that age anymore, but I'm a teen mom. I was a teen mom, so I got pregnant my senior year of high school. So I mean, I was pregnant the whole year. I didn't get pregnant the half of the year. I was pregnant the whole entire year of my senior year, and so I was that high achiever daughter. I was the goal oriented daughter. I was the she's gonna do this,
Mhm.
type of person. And so when I got pregnant, I felt that I had just shamed my mom,
Mm,
my dad, my family, my
yeah.
just my whole community. And it was like in that moment of where I felt rejected, you know, all I wanted was that support,
Mm,
like just someone to just wrap their arms around me and tell me that it was going to be okay.
yeah.
And I didn't get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't get that. I know now that everyone showed up in my life the way that they could, the
Mm,
best way for them,
yeah.
but it hurted me. Like
Yeah.
it really hurted me. And so now I see now in my life where rejection shows up again, where it shows up
Right.
in my work, where it has showed up when I was at school, where it shows up.
Yeah.
And at first I didn't know what the feeling was. I didn't know what that feeling was. And when I really thought about it, I was like, wait a minute, what is this feeling? Why do I feel like this? Why do I feel rejected? Why do I feel shame? Why do I have this guilt feeling? Like, why do I have this heavy guilt? And as I was, like I said, as I was processing it and thinking about it, I remember that it's my 17-year-old self.
Yeah.
The
Wow.
girl that never got that, you know, even though this is not what you wanted for your senior year, you're still good enough.
Yeah. That's good.
There's nothing wrong with you because this has happened. You're still an awesome person. You're still amazing. Just that support the way I wanted it to look.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that the support wasn't there. Like I say, the support showed up in the way that it could show up, but
Yeah.
it was something else that I needed.
Wow. Wow.
And so, like I say, and so fast forward, I find myself, like you said, shrinking myself in other areas because now I feel inadequate.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel inadequate because, okay, so I was a teen mom and that wasn't right.
Yeah.
That was a problem for a lot of people. So now I feel inadequate.
Yeah.
And so now I find myself, am I adequate enough?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you see me?
Yeah.
Is this good enough?
Yeah.
And that's where I know, even for me, like we were talking about the version of
Yeah.
ourselves and being our true identity, I too had to even just
Yeah.
find out who I was.
That's it. That's it. That's really good, and I can totally relate to that for
Mhm.
sure. Because and one thing you said before I even go into that, one thing you said that I believe is just rings so true is the fact that if you don't deal with the issue,
Mm.
it's going to show back up in another place in your
Mhm.
life.
Yes.
It's going to show up if you don't deal with it, right?
Mhm.
So when you were talking about rejection and feeling rejected when you were younger, and now you're seeing it show back up in other places in your life, it is
Mhm.
because that wasn't, dealt with, and you still feel a part of you just still feels rejected. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That was never healed. That part of you was never healed. And like I said, I can totally relate to you. And I'm going to be completely transparent. I a lot of times have felt rejected in my relationships. You
Mm.
I felt like, I had to be all the things, you know what I mean? I had to be
Mhm.
smart because I felt I was so insecure about my image. I wanted to be enough in all of these other areas. I wanted
Yeah.
to make sure that you can't say anything about these other areas because they on point when it comes
Yeah.
to I'm
Yeah.
intelligent, I'm very smart, I'm very creative. There's a lot of things about me that are just on point. So because I feel like I fell short in the department when it comes to, my image or how I look, like I'm not pretty enough or I'm not as pretty, but you can't say that I'm not smart. You know what I'm saying? You
Mhm.
can't say that I'm not intelligent. You
Mm.
cannot say that. You can't say that I'm not a good person with a great personality. You cannot say these things about you. Can't say really any negative thing about me because in those departments I'm good.
Yeah.
Because I felt inadequate when it came to how I looked.
Yeah.
I was really, really insecure when it came to image, whether it
Mm.
just image period, body image, just everything. I was extremely insecure. And so that part about me, I concealed, I show up like I'm
Mm.
confident. I show up like I got it going on, but you don't know what goes on when I'm
Yeah.
by myself. You
Yeah.
don't know what goes on when I'm by my bedside crying,
Mm.
weeping because I don't look like this or
Yeah.
because I have these flaws. You know what I'm saying? When it
Mhm.
comes to image, my insecurity has always been about image.
Mhm.
Always. I've never been insecure in any other department, because I know I show up well in those areas.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I show up very well in those other areas. And I believe
Mhm.
because I've been so insecure with image to where I overcompensated in other areas.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
I overcompensated, but now being 34 years old and learning and going
Mm.
through the process, and God really like stripping me of some things and just really going through that thing and learning that who I am, the totality of who
Yes.
I am, is enough. Not
Yes.
enough for you, but it's enough for me.
Yes.
You know, it is enough whether you like me or not, whether you think I'm beautiful or not. I know, it goes beyond belief. I don't just believe, I know I'm enough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's beyond belief at this point because nobody's going to ever make me feel rejected anymore. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Because I've gone through the process and I know now that who God made me is enough.
Yeah.
And I don't have to be accepted by anybody but me because God
Yeah.
has already accepted me.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And it was something that when you said conceal.
Yeah.
And when you said conceal, I saw a lot of our sisters, the community,
Yeah.
that we have been concealing
Yeah.
and hiding things and covering things up for
Yeah.
so long. And that it's time, like today is time to pull and peel back those layers.
Yeah.
It's time to unpack those things that we had in our suitcase. It's time to unpack that suitcase
Yeah.
and deal with those things that's in our suitcase. I know it's gonna hurt. It's definitely gonna hurt.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sit here and lie to you like it's not gonna hurt. It's going to hurt when you unpack that suitcase,
Yeah.
but it's going to help you
Yeah.
once you unpack that suitcase. Because if you don't unpack that suitcase, it's going to hinder you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you want to be healed, if you want to be helped,
Yeah.
unpack that suitcase.
Yeah.
Go to those areas that hurt. Go to those areas that you've stuffed down and you suppressed for so long.
Yeah.
Go to that area.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's time for your breakthrough.
Yeah.
It's time for you to break those strongholds off of you.
Yeah.
It's
That's good.
time.
That's good.
It's time. It's time. It is time for us to give ourselves permission
Yeah.
to show up and be our authentic self.
Yeah. That is good.
So, my question to the community is, are you ready? Are you going to show up and be your true self?
Right. Yeah.
Because we got to give ourselves permission. And
Yeah.
also give yourself grace. Give yourself grace for
Good.
whenever you fall. You
Yeah.
you you made a mistake, you done something, you didn't, it happened,
Yeah.
but guess what? You can come back from it.
Yeah.
You can
That's
come back from it. I think I remember look, I'm about to get comfortable. Shon, I remember when we talked and we was talking about our measure of forgiveness.
Yeah. Yeah.
That when we went to God and repented, he forgave us.
So why are we still holding on? Why are we still holding on? That's good.
So why are we still holding on?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
time to forgive self and it's time to move on.
Yeah.
Because it's time for you to propel yourself forward. It's time for you to show up in some other areas. It's time for you to be you, and it's time for you to make those dreams, those goals.
Yeah.
It's time to do them. But I know I've been there. I feel it. You have these goals, these dreams, and these aspirations, but you can't do them because you feel inadequate, because you feel like somebody didn't accept you. So you still have that rejection, that
Yeah.
shame, that embarrassment, that guilt. You feel guilty sometimes.
Yeah.
You feel guilty moving because your community is not moving.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
It's time. It's
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
You want to be that best version? You want to be that best version? You want to talk about being that best version? You want to talk about being that girl? Well, in order to do that, you got to peel back those layers. You got to peel back that onion, and you got to
Yeah,
deal with the things that's at the root.
that's it. That's it. That's the one thing that I believe I've learned just over the course of a few years. The one thing that I've just learned is that um, it's always deeper than surface.
Ooh.
Always deeper than surface. And you have to have the courage. My sister Heather Coleman always says, you got to dig, you got to uncover, and you got to uproot that thing. It's always deeper than the surface. It's always
Yes.
what we see. And a lot of
Mhm.
times we just get caught up on what we see or what it appears to be, to where
Mhm.
we don't even take the time out to just dig. And that's not just in our life, but in our friends' lives as well. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's always deeper than it's deeper than what it looks like, you know. It's always deeper, and we have to take the time out to just be able to have the courage, because when you start digging, you're going to start uncovering some stuff that you are not ready for, you know, that you buried a long time ago and you don't want to come up again. But this is how you show up as the best version of yourself. You have to have the courage to start digging and uncovering the root of the issues that you have. You know what I'm saying? And I
Mhm.
believe it's so pertinent, especially in our community, in the African American community, for everybody generally, but it's so pertinent that we do this, that we dig and uncover and uproot some things in our community, because there's some things that we've hidden and
Mhm.
concealed and tucked away, you know, uh,
Mhm.
in effort to not have them come up again. But like I
Mhm.
said earlier, it's gonna show up somewhere,
It
somewhere
sure
in your
will.
those
Yes.
issues that you have, it's gonna
Yes.
show up, and you got to deal with it when it shows up. But why not voluntarily? You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? Why not voluntarily start digging and uprooting and uncovering those things? You know what I mean? Because it's only going to help you heal and be the best version of you.
That's so true. That's
Yeah.
so true. That's so true. And so we're definitely we're going to get ready and kind of close. But I remember you saying that in order to heal it, you got
Yeah.
to reveal. So you can't heal what you won't reveal.
Yeah.
And like I said before, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
It's definitely gonna hurt because it those are some
Yeah.
sore topics, some sore places, some sore areas.
Yeah.
But just like Angela said, I am changing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm changing.
Yeah.
And so, in order to be the best
Yeah.
that you want to be, to show up in that room, you know,
Yeah.
you got to do the work. And that's the thing. You
Yeah.
got to do the work.
Yeah.
It is work.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's work. It's
Hmm.
hard work. It's very challenging work. It's very difficult work. It's very difficult
It
because
is.
sometimes we just don't want to see what's there. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to see what's there. But
Yeah.
we have to, like I said, we have to take courage. We have to
Hmm.
have courage and start that process, you know, because there's some people that's waiting on you to start your process, so that you can in turn help them with theirs.
Yes.
No, that's the purpose, I believe, as to why we are here. You know, that is the purpose, so that we can go through life, because you're not going to go through life without challenges. You're not going to. I
Hmm.
hate to bust your bubble, but you're not going to go through life without challenges. You're
Don't
going
bust a bubble.
I'm sorry, I got to do it. But you're going to have challenges. But life is about persevering. You know what I'm saying? It's about getting through those challenges, persevering through, so that you can in turn help somebody else with theirs. There.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You're right.
The hard work. We gotta do the hard work, you know? Like there's a reason why you so easily succumb to the pressures of society. There's a reason.
Ooh.
got to start digging to find out, why am I so easily influenced? Is it attention that I seek? Why do I seek attention? Is this what I lacked in my childhood? Why did I lack this? You have to start digging and do the work. Do the work so that you can show up in life authentically, and so that you can help the next person show up authentically, so that we can stop walking around life in these with these facades, acting, being these actors, and we ain't getting paid to act. You know what I'm saying? We can start walking around being our true self.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Don't die, don't perish without showing up for real.
Yeah.
Don't perish without being authentic. Because you're gonna miss out on life. You're gonna miss out on the best parts of life if you don't show up being who you are for real.
Yeah. Look, y'all, Shon done sit here and snatch y'all edges. She done sit here and snatch. We done got y'all right tonight. Like, I don't know about y'all. I don't know how, baby. She done got y'all right tonight. She done told y'all. She done told you. She don't know what happened to you in your childhood. It's gonna hurt, but you still gotta do that work. Yeah. She done snatch y'all edges. I don't know if y'all feel snatched, but I feel snatched for you. Yeah. She done snatched. She done got y'all right tonight. So what you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Conversation community, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Because it's time for us to do the work. It's a process, but I want you to know that your community is here. We're here. I'm here. Shon's here. Yeah. I know y'all have her information. You can follow her on Instagram. Her handle, I just put at the bottom. You can follow her on Instagram at Shon Mercy. Also, please check out her podcast, Minutes of Mercy. If you loved her tonight and you feel like she snatched your edges tonight, get on that podcast. Get on that podcast, and she's really gonna snatch your edges. She's really gonna snatch you up. I just want y'all to know she's definitely gonna snatch you up. But community, can we show her some love? Can we give Shon some love? I know y'all have been giving her some love in the chat, but can we just continue to give Shon some love, because she did her thing tonight. Shon, I just want to say thank you.
Thank you for having me
so much, for coming through tonight, for sitting down with me, for having a transparent, honest conversation.
Yeah.
Because I know, it gets hard sometimes, because in transparency, you have to show a little bit of vulnerability.
Yeah. And I don't like it. I don't like transparency at all. But I know transparency is key. If my purpose here is to help somebody, I can only help somebody by being transparent and relative to some of the things that they're going through. So it's a journey. It's very difficult for me to be transparent, but I am more and more, I'm understanding how my transparency is helping somebody else. So it is my pleasure. And I want to thank you for just having me, for inviting me back on the conversation. I love having conversations. I love talking, even though I have severe anxiety before we come on. I love having these conversations because they are so necessary, especially for the people in our community. And I'm glad that mental health is just being that people are opening up more about mental health. Mental health is not that man that you see walking down the street talking to himself. We all struggle with mental issues, and we have to begin to dig. We have to have courage to dig and uncover some of those things so that we can show up as the best versions of us.
Yes. And you are so right. You're so right. And like I said before, our experiences, they might have happened to us, but they're not for us.
Yeah.
We use our experiences, we tell our stories so that we can help our sister or our brother navigate and break strongholds in their life. So, again, thank you everyone for coming on. Thank you, conversation community. You know what? I just want to say, y'all guys, y'all showed up tonight. Y'all showed out. Y'all, I thank you to my conversation community. Like I said, the support is always here. If you ever need me, you know how to reach me, DM me, call me, whatever. Let's talk about it. Let's hash it out. Let's reveal some things so we can start this healing process. So let's let the healing begin. So again, I love you guys. I'll see y'all next Wednesday. And next Wednesday, y'all, we are talking about the social injustice in the school systems.
That's a good one.
So if you are parents and you have children that are still in schools, or if you might know somebody with children, let them know you definitely want to show up next week, because we are talking about some things, sometimes as parents, we don't always know. So we're definitely going to talk about, have two phenomenal guests that will be on. So, hey, get ready, check it out, and I'll see y'all guys next week.